How has COVID affected me personally in my educational life? Um, in my normal life, it hasn't affected me that much. As a person, I usually don't go out that much. I don't really go to parties. I don't do much. I spend any time indoors working on my hobby projects and things like that, programming in my spare time and doing roughly schoolwork. The main thing that affected me the most during COVID was my school life. I found it very hard to learn and have everything. As I had to take these lectures online, I felt that I wasn't retaining a lot of the information I needed, and in some cases, it was a lot harder. Also, I'd find myself distracted a lot more than if I was inside of a classroom. I'd often be really focused on what the teacher was talking about and like what was happening. But but now that I'm in my home and I am comfortable, I guess, I'm a lot more distracted and I can't retain the information. My focus is lower than what it should be, and I find it much harder to get assignments in on time or to get the motivation to get them done because, like, I feel like I never start school or, like, usually for me, I think about like how I'm gonna get the project in class. Like, okay, the project's gonna be done. I should do that tonight or tomorrow night or things like that. But it just doesn't feel right for me, and like I just like can't help figure out the schedule. My mind just doesn't go into that mode where it says schedule this, schedule that, and it's the biggest impact was my school life. My personal life completely the same, and me personally, I felt really no difference other than having to put on a mask every day and when talking to people, stay 6 feet, all these practices. You know, washing your hands more, but it's like things like that. I found it strange. I also found like in the very early parts of the essentials, such as like not shopping as much and using a lot more online delivery services. It was different. It was an experience. I myself would not want to do school. To be honest, I would much rather prefer to go to school after COVID is over. But in right now, I can't afford that. I need to work harder and focus more and train myself to focus in these lectures that are online. The other hard parts were probably that I had to get things myself. Like, luckily for me, I had a computer I could use, and I downloaded all the assets I would need to work on my assignments and do all this other stuff. But um, I know it would have been easier because all those things would have been provided to me if I in this programming class. I would most likely be at a computer in the classroom and we would be working. Other things is that much I feel a lot more reluctant to ask the teacher for help. Like, oh, I'm not really understanding this. Could you explain it better? But if I'm not standing there and like for some reason, like even though like no one really like most people don't I don't really pick up when people talk, but even though like the classroom isn't always like chattering and they're not chattering, but like asking questions to the teacher in like Zoom meetings, it feels like 10 times more quiet and I feel scared to not I just don't can't like I just can't get myself up to like just being the first one to talk after an hour of the teacher just giving this lecture and asking questions. It has been an experience for me and the school life has been greatly impacted. It has. Thank you very much. This is my experience with COVID and how it's affected my life and my school life. In polar opposite ways, it has infected in great differing varies, but it has affected me a lot.